Three big areas: software licensing compliance. We know that people are spending more than 250,000, about 75% more than 250,000, at least 25% spending almost $500 million a year on issues of non-compliance. And this is in the convergence between FinOps as well. It's not just in traditional licensing environments like desktop, server infrastructure, data center. It's now in cloud cost compute areas as well. And governance and compliance in that area is probably one of the biggest challenges you're going to see in a minute, because it's not just around typical license management anymore. As we start to think about consumption-based models, and those can change almost daily, there's a threshold model and there's a very much a sort of bursting models around licensing that really people haven't thought about before. And tracking is a common theme, which is, wow, I do an audit once a year, or I do it once a quarter, or whatever, and that just is a point in time. How do I get more real-time insight into what actually is going on? So that seems to be a common theme. Second big area is audits. Now, of course, depending on the vendor you're working with, some of them more aggressive than others on audits. We all know some of the story around Oracle Java licensing, for example, and in other areas like Adobe in the past as well. But it's fairly common for people to respond obviously annually against a potential audit threat or something where they perceive a level of out of compliance. What we've seen through the research here, and this was I think almost 2,000 organizations we polled this research against, a trend to do at least more frequent audit management, and sometimes quarterly or at least half yearly, and in many cases constant. In other words, let's use a piece of technology that will give us almost immediate insight into where our licensing obligations are, and also consumption spend. And then from our sort of research in relation to Java, as people look for alternatives, they're realizing that maybe the strategies they have around traditional licensing, in other words, what got you from where you were to where you are today on a particular licensing strategy, is not going to work moving forward, particularly in the FinOps world.